Besides, Asher continued, does it even matter who was at fault? In the end, the strongest side won. That's the only lesson worth learning. Violet retorted, yeah, the strongest side, which was the humans, won, in case you haven't fully grasped that lesson yet. Instantly, all the werewolves in the classroom tensed. Asher's gaze locked onto Violet with a piercing intensity that sent a shiver down her spine. Oh, we very much learned that lesson, Miss Purple. He said calmly, but the dark edge in his tone was unmistakable. It wasn't just the use of her surname for the first time that unsettled Violet, but the weight behind his words. They weren't just a response, they were a warning, a promise. If humans and werewolves were to face off again, history wouldn't repeat itself. The silence in the room was deafening, thick with tension. Even the other Cardinal Alphas seemed to pause, their usual smug expressions replaced with something more serious. For the first time, Violet felt as though she might have poked a bear she wasn't prepared to wrestle. Professor Alden clapped his hands, drawing everyone's attention. Strength alone doesn't make one victorious, Mr. Nightshade. After all, wisdom and unity are what rebuilt things after the war. However, there are valid points on all sides. It's good we have history to remind us that every action, no matter how justified it seems, has consequences. The Great War wasn't caused by one person. It was the result of fear, prejudice, and a failure to communicate. He returned to his desk and swiped through his tablet. For your next assignment, you'll work in pairs, preferably with the person next to you, to analyze the events leading up to the war, and propose an alternative course of action that could have prevented it. I expect detailed arguments supported by historical evidence. The classroom instantly filled with groans. Everyone, except the Cardinal Alphas, voiced their displeasure at the assigned work. Violet rolled her eyes at the dramatic reaction, already planning to team up with her friend Alice. She turned toward Alice, about to ask, when she felt a gloved hand clasp her wrist. You're with me, Alaric said coolly, leaving no room for negotiation. For a split second, Violet stared at him, speechless. Then her expression shifted to one of disbelief. Are you kidding me right now? She immediately tried to pull her arm free, but Alaric's grip was firm. She arched a brow. My friend is right here. Go find someone else to bother. Besides, you're smart enough to do this alone, aren't you? Her voice dripped with sarcasm, remembering this stunt in biology class when he took all the credit for their work. The teacher specifically said to work in pairs. Your friend can find someone else. Violet scowled, refusing to back down. You have other friends. Go pair up with one of them. They're not as smart as you, Alaric said smoothly. Flattery won't work on me. Violet shot back. She yanked her arm again, but Alaric's grip didn't budge. Alice, clearly uncomfortable, looked between the two and hesitantly spoke up. Violet, maybe you should just work with him. It's fine. I can team up with someone else. But Violet shook her head and glared at Alaric. No way! Friends before everyone! She declared loudly, earning stares from several classmates, ranging from amused to shocked. Let's settle this the easy way, Alaric suggested. Let fate decide. Violet narrowed her eyes. And how do you propose we do that exactly? Rock, paper, scissors, Alaric replied with a playful grin. Violet stared at him, dumbfounded. Seriously? It's not a bad idea. Alice chimed in, attempting to mediate. I'm pretty good at it, so he can't cheat. Alaric gestured toward Alice. See, even your friend agrees. Violet groaned, still suspicious, but reluctantly agreed. Fine, let's get this over with. Alaric and Alice faced off, hands ready. Violet crossed her arms, watching closely. And so it began. The first round was a tie, both throwing paper. Violet's heart raced, hoping Alaric would lose. She was rooting for her friend. The second round was another tie, both choosing scissors. By the third round, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and even other students were watching. Alice hesitated slightly before throwing paper, but Alaric's hand slammed down with scissors. He won instantly, a triumphant grin spreading across his face.
Yes!
Alaric pumped his fist. Alice sighed, looking defeated, and Violet groaned loudly, sharing her friend's disappointment.
Great!
She muttered sarcastically. Now I'm stuck with him. The bell rang, signaling the end of class. Alaric stood and looked down at Violet, beaming.
I'll expect you at my place later tonight,
he declared. Violet glared at him.
Don't get your hopes up. I'm not coming over. I'm not giving the Oracle more ammo for another scandalous article.
Alaric's eyes twinkled.
Don't worry. I have a private workshop. We'll be alone. That's kind of the scary part,
Violet muttered under her breath.
See you tonight, Violet,
Alaric said, ignoring her protest as he walked away, leaving Violet dreading the evening. As soon as Alaric left, Roman appeared, his signature smirk in place as he leaned casually against the desk next to Violet.
That was an intense showdown with Asher. Care to do it again sometime? I loved it.
Get lost, Roman, Violet snapped, glaring at him. Roman just laughed, totally unbothered by her harsh words. His laughter echoed through the room, attracting way more attention than Violet wanted. But before she could fire back another insult, Asher appeared out of nowhere, grabbing Roman by the collar in one swift move. The smirk on Roman's face flickered for a second, replaced by a mix of amusement and slight annoyance.
Okay, I'm going,
Roman chuckled as Asher started dragging him away. Asher's intense gaze locked with Violet's for a brief moment. His expression was a total mystery. He didn't say a word. Instead, he turned back to Roman, hauling his fellow Cardinal Alpha out of the classroom.